Good morning. Well, it's the day before Thanksgiving. Today is my son's birthday. So, one day I'm going to be gone, and I'll probably title this, Greyson, watch this too. Greyson, you've been through so much and you don't realize it. But I am so proud of you. I love you. Even though you play a lot of games and you've just become so loving as time has progressed and as time has passed. And it was such a pleasure to hear you yell up the stairs, "Don't you have something to tell me?" while I was getting ready. I'm grateful to be your father. And your daddy's doing everything he can to better himself, to be a better dad. Today's just for today, and I had somebody read out well, I didn't have them, but they read out the daily reflections, which is the AA version of the NA's daily meditation, or vice versa, however you want to look at it. We have this thing called the clarity statement, where we don't want to differentiate being sober from being clean. When we're in NA meetings, we use NA language. When we're in AA meetings, we use AA language. But that takes away the whole idea that there are two separate diseases. In my mind, and in the mind of some others, we believe it's all the same. Contrary to popular belief, we also believe that alcohol is a drug. Or at least for us it is. It may not be for everybody. So, today, both of them talked about responsibility, which I thought was interesting. I've read them both together, and they don't always coincide. But today they did for me. And there's some stuff going on in my life, in other people's lives, right now with the holidays. I'm sitting here tripping. I've got basically 2 more paychecks until Christmas. Technically 3. No, technically 2. Not 3. And both of those checks are already spent. With bills and shit. Which leaves no Christmas, if I really think about it. So I got to get super creative. There are 6 kids to buy for. And they don't understand bills versus presents. And neither would I when I was a kid. So I've never, ever had to have that talk with them about how I can't afford Christmas because the bills are too heavy. I've just figured it out. So, why go and do something different this time? It ain't happening. I'll figure it out. Creatively. I still have 3 days of the month because there's a day off. And then I have a day off. But I may not take that day off. I may just work through it. Because no matter how hard I push in December, I don't get that check until January. So I have 5 days to figure out Christmas. 4 to figure out Christmas. With a day off because of Thanksgiving. It's not a lack of trying. I've given it my fucking all here. And it's not over yet. The month is not over yet. So we'll see what happens. I've figured out ways to make it happen. So there's that. That's that responsibility thing in there. It's one of the reasons I brought that up, and now I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to connect them. Responsibility. I have a responsibility to pay these bills. I have a responsibility to make sure that the kids have a good Christmas. That is going to happen. Like that whole idea of like, well, you know, maybe next year. Fuck that. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. No. There was one year when I was a kid, and I still remember it. It's why I know that shit ain't happening. And I'm not knocking my father. Considering what he had to go through, all the stuff that he had to do. There's 6 of us, 4 kids. I mean, I think he made 40 grand a year. I don't even know how he bought Christmas all those years. But he did. He did it differently. You know, he rotated the big gift. I don't look back and wish I got more. I look back and the one year I appreciate the most, I don't want to have my kids have to go through that year, but the one year I appreciated the most, we had just moved. And why we moved, I don't know. I never really looked at that part of the story. I just know we moved. I know why we moved a lot of other times. Due to eviction, we couldn't afford the rent, whatever it was. Rent hadn't been paid for a couple months or some shit like that. I remember those. But he had said that Santa delivered the presents to the wrong house and they're on their way. You know, I remember that day. But as an adult with kids, and I go through my struggles, over the last couple of years, I've been able to think about what he went through that day. How tough it must have been knowing that all these kids all over the place are getting presents and my kids are not. Having to tell our kids that that happened because he was going to get paid maybe a week later and then he could buy some presents. What mental fuckery that played on him, you know? And my heart goes out to him for that specific day. Never really thought about what it would be like to say that and then walk into the kitchen and sit down on the kitchen counter and put your hands over your face and put your head down and you just feel like you failed as a parent, which he didn't. That's got to be tough. My heart goes out to him for that, because that's at that. It's on that moment. Like even thinking about the stress of like each day leading up to the day that you have to tell them that you can't. You know, it's not going to happen. You have to come up with a creative reason to why. Because you can't sit there and tell your kids, you know, I didn't make enough, or it just was a tough time, or we just moved and we spent all the money moving. Like they're not going to really sit there and say, okay, Daddy, it's okay, I understand, and then go to school or whatever it may be and hear about all these kids' gifts and shit. So it's a fucked up situation all around. And I've just been so afraid of that situation ever since I had kids, that I've been very blessed to not have to do that. Even in my dark days, I was able to figure something out. But I usually had help. I want to thank Amanda on this for making some of those times actually happen. All those years of me battling her when she was just trying to fucking figure it out. Eventually I'll have to make that amends. Never really thought about it until right now. I think that's one of the reasons I do these videos. So I can think about, so things that get unlocked. You know, they talk about recovery being, you know, it unlocks, it like opens up the layers of the onion. And you get to the core. And then once you finally get to the core, motherfucker hands you another onion. It says, here's relationships. Here's your financial issues. Here's your kid trauma. Here's your fucking... There's like a gang of onions. It's not one onion. I'm starting to realize I got relationship issues. I got validation issues. I got financial issues, sexual issues. Not like that, but you know, like why I did some of the things I did, or why I watched some of the things I watched. You know, I'm proud of myself because I haven't watched anything terrible in a year, 3 months now. A year and 3 months. Not against it. I don't think people don't need to. I just don't. And my life has felt a lot better because of it. So I can't believe I just said this shit in public. This is like, you know, share this with your sponsor. Maybe another person in recovery. But this wouldn't be a raw, real video if I didn't. How the hell did presents turn into this? I'm all over the place. Financial struggles do that to me. I'm sitting here tripping on bills. I'm sitting here tripping on presents. When I do that, when I go down this rabbit hole that y'all are seeing me go down right now, like y'all are seeing me, what goes on in my head, how I think, and I'm saying it out loud, and that shit happens like that on a regular basis. I'm thinking one thing, all of a sudden it's my dad, and that day, all of a sudden it's, you know, pornography I used to watch, to, you know, like that's how my brain is. It's like I cover all these layers, and just to open up like our minds are like a mansion. And there's all these rooms and closets, and they're all filled. Like if you're like me and you're an addict or an alcoholic, we just kept fucking putting shit in each room until that room was full, and then we were like, oh, this room's open, it's not as full, let me shove more shit in here. Let me shove that candy bar I stole when I was fucking 8 from the gas station in here. You know, and then we go into recovery, and it's like, okay, let's open this door. Holy shit. Because without recovery, I'd go back in and open a door, and I'd open a door, and it would be like me getting jumped, surrounded by all these Samoan dudes when I came out of a classroom I wasn't expecting, over a rumor that was a lie, that I didn't know about until, you know, the beatdown. And so every time I thought about that, I put that in a room, and every time I thought about it, so I walked by the room, I was like, oh, there's room 208. You know, now I'm not going to explain room 208, but if you guys are a fan of that writer, you'll understand it like immediately. But there's room 208, and I think that's the number of the room. This is like weird babble. Anyways, this started off as Greyson, hell yeah, you're 8. Anyways, so I'd open the door, I'd see it, and then I'd fucking get loaded. I never thought that, like, that's why I was getting loaded. I like to believe that I was getting loaded because I just wanted to get loaded. And yeah, that's 100% of the reason, like that's 90% of the reason why I got loaded. So let's not get it twisted. For other people it might be different, but for me, that's the truth. But that 10% built the 90. You know, a thought would cross my mind. Me fighting for a parking spot at a lake, saying that if these guys take this spot, I'm gonna fuck them up. And then the guys that came out of it, I'm like, oh, I'm not even gonna say shit to these guys. And then felt like a straight bitch to my ex-wife, just so we could be on the lake. and her turn around and say, I thought you were gonna fuck them dudes up. Not those guys. Anyways, man, I'm just sharing all kinds of shit today. Whatever. That's what happens. I don't want to think about my bills. I don't want to think about Christmas. So I'll go ahead and go to those places. You know. Then I don't have to think about them because I can't get loaded anymore. You know, I won't get loaded anymore. I used to say I can't get clean. No, you won't get clean. So I won't get loaded anymore. I know what that'll do. I'll fucking start filling up some closets, that's for sure. And then I'll turn to the rooms until I can't even walk in the house. That's the Cliff Notes version of what the fuck I would do if I got loaded. I don't give a fuck if it's a fucking bottle of wine. For me, it's all the same shit. Because it all leads to the same thing. Because nothing's ever good enough for me. Even relationships, man. The bitches ain't good enough for me. It's because I haven't been good enough for me. I hear that, like, if you're good enough for you, then the vices start to go away. The vices, what I'm realizing, are a direct reflection to things that I'm not good with myself for. And I can externally let everybody know I'm okay. You know, I can externally I can dress nice, I can wear the tattoos, I can build the body, I can eat correctly. But deep down inside, there are a lot of things that I'm not good with, that I'm working on. And when I can be spiritually fit, and physically fit, and financially fit, you know, when those things, but see here, I believe that, like, when I'm internally fit, and, you know, getting fit means you have to continue to work at it. You know, I use the gym reference a lot because I go to the gym a lot, 5 to 6 days a week. You know, but it's more than just getting fit. It's now part of my routine because I spent that much time getting loaded. They say if you put the same amount of effort into your recovery as you did getting loaded, your life will change completely. So I'm trying to work harder at this than I did at that. I've taken a bike with flat tires in the rain and went to another town, went to another town to pick up. So what type of effort like that have I done towards my recovery? Well, I'd like to say that I've done even more. So it all leads back to responsibility in today's Just for Today. There's a wonderful phrase that says circumstance does not change responsibility. I should probably take that into my life in terms of my house being clean. Regardless of what I walked into a year ago. You know? I mean, at this point it's all me. Can't blame nobody else. I have a there's another phrase that we're not responsible for our disease, but we are responsible for our recovery. I love the words like faith, acceptance, perseverance. Like, I love those words. How much do I like the word responsibility? Ooh, it sounds sour. You know, like you eat something that's sweet and then you bite into the sour part of it and you're like, oh. But the combination of the two are amazing. So I have a responsibility to make sure that these kids open up gifts this year. I have a feeling that I'll be doing a video talking about how I made it happen. And it all leads down to one thing. I'll sum this up with this because I'm about to be at work. One thing. If I trust in my higher power that I'll be taken care of, and with that trust, I fucking bust my ass as hard as I can to where I look in the mirror and say, I gave it my all. And there are going to be days that, like, I'm fucking not feeling it. But as long as those days don't turn into fucking weeks or months, I'll be okay. If I can take that approach and I trust in my higher power, everything will be taken care of. And if I have enough faith to believe that that a power greater than myself could stop me from using fucking dope all the fucking time, watching stupid shit all the fucking time, to where I fucking I didn't want to fucking live, then that same thing will make sure that my kids are happy, they open gifts, and we have a good time. And instead of like overthinking, like, do they need this much, or do they need that much, or any of that shit, and just saying, God, I know you got me, I need you, and and help me have the strength to give it my fucking all, I'll be okay. And so will they. And then in fucking 9 weeks, this shit is all done anyways. And I say the word 9 weeks because, well, shit, man, it's really only 6 more, but 9 weeks will be 3 weeks after that. And I'll be in the new year struggling over some other shit. Probably another relationship or some bullshit. You know? So, we have what it takes. Merry fucking Thanksgiving. And let's go get after it. We still have a responsibility for our employers too. And society as well. Peace. Have a good day.